again. And today I will be talking on reasons number 4. The topic will be covering the superiority of the grace of God over the law of God is undoubtedly established by the following text. The just shall live by faith, as Galatians chapter 3, verse 11 states. But we are also informed that the law is not of faith, as Galatians chapter 3, verse 12 states. So all scriptures will be read from the King James Version Bible only. So I'll start. Any casual listener of the quotes from Galatian text will either be confused or amazed, depending on one's knowledge of the purpose, scope, and limitations of the law. For although the scriptures describe the law as being holy, just and good as Romans chapter 7 verse 12 states, we are also informed that it was weak through the flesh as Romans chapter 8 verse 3 states. In addition to this fact, we also know that the law, which is synonymous with the first covenant as Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 13 states, 2 Chronicles chapter 33 verse 8 states, and Hebrews chapter 9 verse 1 states, was divinely replaced by a new and better covenant, as Hebrews chapter 7 verse 19 states, Hebrews chapter 8 verse 6 states, and verse 13, or Hebrews chapter 10 verse 9 states. With this information at one's disposal, one is tempted to ask the following question, and that question is why? 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 Fortunately for us, the scriptures provide us with the answer. Accordingly, the following explanation speaks loudly to the question under review. The law of God, which was not given to Abraham, Isaac, nor Jacob, as Deuteronomy chapter 5, verses 1 to 3, Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 8 states, was added to the Abrahamic promise of Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 to 3, Genesis, the same Genesis chapter 12, verse 7, even to the Abrahamic covenant of Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. This was done to enable faithless, transgressing Israelites who came out of Egypt with Moses to access the promised land of Palestine. In justification of this fact, I would like you listeners to check Deuteronomy chapter 4 verse 1, Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 1, First Chronicles chapter 16 verses 15 to 18, or Psalms 105 verses 8 to 11 on your own time. Now, to cite some of the texts which can be mentioned to support my stated position. Now, since the first covenant, sometimes called the law, was introduced when Israel's mistrust of God was at its zenith, notwithstanding the fact that God had just miraculously delivered them from Pharaoh's iron furnace, the law could not have been an instrument of faith. Instead, it was a penal amendment which came in alongside the original promise of Genesis chapter 12 verse 7 and covenant of Genesis chapter 15 verses 18 to 21. And I would like you, brethren, to read on your own time Galatians chapter 3 verse 19 if you are in doubt of what I'm stating here today. As can be read, the law was a divinely given merit system that held out blessings for the obedient and curses for those who disobeyed its directives. This fact can be verified by reading Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 to 13, then verses 15 to 68 if you are in doubt of what I'm stating here today. So those insights that I've just mentioned were clearly revealed to the Apostle Paul, who endeavored to explain same to his Jewish brethren according to the flesh, but met fierce resistance in so doing. Moreover, because the children of Israel did not understand the purpose for Now, the reasons why the law was introduced: Jesus Christ and the Apostle Paul met stiff resistance from the rank and file of the adherents of Judaism. This ignorance fueled the animosity which characterized the relationship which existed between the leaders of the Jews and Jesus Christ, and was partly responsible for their having delivered him to Pilate, who subsequently acceded to their request to crucify him. Read on your own time, brethren. John chapter 5, verses 15 to 18. John chapter 18, verses 38 to 40. John chapter 19, verses 1 to 16. And be convinced that my position is true. Moreover, it was this said lack of understanding of the purpose for or reasons why the law was given that led to the Apostle Paul being rejected, castigated, stoned, and almost killed by the Jews, as Acts chapter 14, verses 19 to 20 states, Acts chapter 18, verses 12 to 13 states, Acts chapter 14, verse 16, Acts chapter 21, verses 27 to 28, Acts chapter 23, verses 12 to 15, and Acts chapter 19, 12 to 15, sorry, and verses 19 to 24. So I will repeat, brethren, because I think I made an error. So read Acts chapter 14, verses 19 to 20, followed by Acts chapter 18, verses 12 to 13, then verses 14 to 16, then Acts chapter 21, verses 27 to 28, Acts chapter 23, verses 12 to 15, then verses 19 to 24. So my apologies, brethren, for that mistake. From Galatians chapter 3, verse 12, and also from the explanation which I have just provided, one can now appreciate the reason why the law was introduced when the children of Israel refused to trust God, notwithstanding having seen the greatest demonstration of his power in Egypt and in the Red Sea. This being so, the law could never have been a covenant of faith. Never. As can be read, it was introduced as a penalty for their lack of faith in God, as Galatians chapter 3, verse 19 states. So as I come to an end, brethren, of this segment to this evening, now since Galatians chapter 3, verse 11 informs us that the just shall live by faith, being a product of the new covenant as Ephesians chapter 2, verses 8 to 9, while Galatians chapter 3, verse 2 simultaneously informs us that the law is not of faith. The superiority of the grace of God, which gives one the faith of Jesus over the law of God, which gives one self-righteousness, is unquestionably established for all times. This fact is put beyond question once one understands the following quotes, and I'm reading Galatians chapter 3, verse 19, which states, "Wherefore then serveth the law?" Meaning, or what purpose does the law serve? And God gives us the answer, and the answer is, it, meaning the law, was added because of transgressions, till the seed, meaning Christ, should come, to whom the promise is in Genesis chapter 12, verse 7, and Galatians chapter 3, verse 16, was made. And it, meaning the law, was ordained of angels in the hand of a mediator. So that was Galatians chapter 3, verse 19. So from that, brethren, as I come to a close of this segment tonight, therefore, we are sure that the righteousness of faith, which came by the grace of God by the gospel, is far superior to the righteousness of God by the law, which comes by obedience to the law, which is not of faith. So, read Galatians chapter 3, verse 12 if you are in doubt of my stated position. So that's the end of my segments, brethren. I will be live next week again. I do hope that I was clear and persons could have understood the message being shared. I do apologize for the mix up with the scriptures, but it was corrected. And please, brethren, as I've always stated every week on my segments, spend time with God. Spend time and read your holy Bibles, even if it's one or two scriptures a day. I have never informed persons to purchase a book and read it. I've always stated to spend time and read your holy Bibles. Now, my preferred text is the King James Version Bible. So, brethren, have a safe and productive week. Remember that Jesus Christ loves you and I love you. So, bye for now.